Hi everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at Windows 365 Enterprise. We will start by looking at license purchasing all the way up to provisioning the machine and beyond. So let's get started by looking at a comparison between W365 Business and Enterprise. One of the first general comparisons is domain join is not a capability of the Business edition of W365, as it does not allow the creation of Azure Virtual Network connections. Talking of Azure Network connections, if you do decide to use an Azure Virtual Network connection, any networking that goes through the VNet will have the Azure bandwidth pricing applied to the usage costs. There is also no seat limit for W365 Enterprise compared to the 300 seat limit per tenant for W365 Business. So one of the other fairly big differences with Windows 365 Enterprise is the provisioning is configurable and customizable to the needs of your organization. It allows you to select different image types, whether that be from the image gallery or a custom image. If you do decide to hybrid join this machine, group policy and MDM objects are supported. I will place a link to this comparison between W365 Business and Enterprise in the description for you to go and make an informed decision on what suits your business needs. So now we've taken a look over the comparison between the flavors of W365. Let's head over to admin.microsoft.com to purchase our licenses. So under the billing blade, if we click purchase services, give it a moment to load, select a billing account, and then across the top you will see a few pill buttons. So for this case we're going to be looking at W365, and you can see here you've got the different SKUs available. Now, as mentioned at the start, we're looking at W365 Enterprise. So if I click on details, you can see here the different SKU types underneath Windows 365 Enterprise, along with their cost per month. Now, for this case, what I'm going to do is just get a trial license and click Start Free Trial. Click Try Now. That finishes spinning up in the background. If we head over to the Intune console and click Devices and Windows 365, you will see here that at the moment there is no W365 services purchased. So if we head back over to the admin.microsoft page, you can see here that the order confirmation is complete. So if we click continue, it will take us back to the portal. So while things are spinning up in the background, what we will do is we'll head over to Azure Active Directory and create a group to assign the licenses to. So if we head over to groups, new group, security one, and it's going to be Windows 365 trial. Okay, it's going to be an assigned membership, and what member I want to put in here is I'm going to put myself in, so David Brook. Okay, and click create. Once the group is created, if you click onto the group and head down to the licenses blade, add an assignment, and for this we want to assign it the Windows 365 license. Hit save, and that's your licenses assigned. Okay, so now if we head over to Intune and just give it a quick refresh, you will see now Windows 365 has spun up within our Intune tenants. Okay, so there's some nice handy links down here to documentation, the forums, and also a feedback page. But what we want to do is we want to look at creating a provisioning policy. So if we head over to provisioning policies and click create, give it a name, so EU365 trial. It's going to be an Azure AD join type, and we're going to use the Microsoft hosted network. And for the region, we will select UK South. Okay, there is other regions available, so make the one that make a choice based on the geographical locations of your machines. Now, if you've got a hosted Azure network connection on your VNet, the region will be whichever region your network is in. Okay, so if we click next and select image, so I don't have any custom images in my tenants, but it is possible to have custom images within your provisioning policies. But for this purpose, we're going to select gallery image and select. Okay, so I want to build a Windows 11 Enterprise with Microsoft 365 apps that's 22H2. You also have the option to use Windows 11 Enterprise with OS optimizations. Now what I'll do is I will pop a link within the description to the differences between OS optimizations and Microsoft 365 apps, just so you can go and have a look and make an informed decision on which one you want to choose. So if I click next and look at the configuration, so the language and region, for this case I want to use United Kingdom. Now if you have auto patch configured in your tenants, you can choose to enroll your devices into Windows Auto Patch. So I've got Windows Auto Patch enabled, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to enable Auto Patch for this device. If not, you can manage this via your general Windows update rings. Click next. And for the assignments, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and add in my Windows 365 trial group. Okay. Click next, review the information, and click create. Now, because there is a licensed user within the group, it will start to provision a machine fairly swiftly. Okay, so while that goes and creates a provisioning policy for the machines, what we will do is head back over to Azure Active Directory and go back to the groups pane and create another group. Now, what we're going to do in here is we're going to create a Windows 365 devices group. So this is going to be a dynamic device. The query will be model contains cloud PC. Okay. Click save. Create. Okay, so that dynamic device group will be used for things like policy assignments, etc. But in terms of policy assignments, you can also come into Intune and create a device filter for the same purpose. So Windows 365 machines, platform, Windows 10 or later. We will use the model again and it contains Cloud PC, preview devices. There's non-registered at the moment. Next, create. So you will see now that we've got a filter. Okay, so let's head over to Windows 365 again and look at all cloud PCs. So you can see here that it has picked up that my user has a license. The status at the moment is not provisioned, but he's picked up the provisioning policy as we assigned our group to that provisioning policy. So it's very important that if you have multiple regions, that you assign your user to the correct region. And it'll also give you your image type and your PC type. Okay, so the deployment of this may vary in times. I've seen things take 40 minutes, 50 minutes. It's all about being a little bit patient, but during your initial setup, what it may be worthwhile doing is going and having a look at your configuration profiles and assigning them to the group that you created for your Windows 365 machines, or including or excluding policies based on your filter. While we're talking about policies, it's also worth mentioning that Windows 365 machines do not support BitLocker. It is recommended that you exclude this from your BitLocker policies, and also any compliance policies that have got BitLocker as a requirement. I would recommend creating a duplicate and maybe looking at a different way to assuring device compliance for your organization. But it is definitely worth noting that BitLocker isn't supported on these machines. Now again, I'll put a link to this encryption page within the description, so you can feel more comfortable on how the data is encrypted when at rest or in transit. Okay, so after 42 minutes my device finished provisioning. You can see here that it's given it a device name of CPC-David-a random selection. Now, this naming convention at the moment is not customizable, so you will see device name CPC hyphen the name of the user hyphen for a couple of digits at the end. Okay, so in terms of accessing a W365 machine, there is a couple of things you can use. So if we head over to my virtual machine, recently Microsoft released a Windows 365 preview app in the Microsoft Store, which I'll put a link to inside the description. Now, once you install this from the Microsoft Store and launch it, it will sign you in. And you can see it's giving you a brief overview of Windows 365. Okay. And you can see here we've got my W365 trial machine, which is myself, and the specs of the machine. Okay. You also get the ability to restart it. Rename it will only rename it within your W365 view. But if you click connect, give it a moment. Okay, enter my credentials. And you can see the Cloud PC connects. Okay, you can also see that my branding has kicked in, so it's also using my policies and things from Intune. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to disconnect to show you an alternative method. So another method you can use is you can use the remote desktop client from Microsoft, and again I'll put links to in the description of how you can access and download these installation files. If you use things like Patch My PC, they're also available within their catalog for quick creation. So if I click subscribe, it's going to ask me to log in. So I'll select my user. It will go and wait and look for resources, and you'll see here again my cloud PC is available for logging onto. So again, I'll just click on this machine, enter my details again, and again it is now logging me into the same cloud PC as it was before. Okay, you can see when it's logged in, it's all nice and ready to go. Okay, a third way of accessing it, if 2 isn't already good enough, is if we head over to the browser and if we go to windows365.microsoft.com, return, and you'll see again it's single sign me in, and here if I just click open in browser, it will again prompt me to log in. And you will see again it has logged me back in to my cloud PC. Okay, so now we've looked at accessing the cloud PC. Let's head back over to Intune and into the Windows 365 blade again, and select the device. Let's have a look what options we have available. So we have the general device options available, such as sync, restart, collect diagnostics and the scanning, etc. But we also have a couple of Windows 365 options, such as reprovision, which effectively is just a complete blow it away and start again. There is resize, which is in preview, so you can choose to resize your virtual machine. Now, as mentioned here, you will need the license available with inside your tenant. Okay, restart will again just restart the machine. But if we click restore, if there is any restore points available, you can restore that to a point in time. If we then look to say, for example, the machine's had an issue, and we click reprovision, and then if we head back over to the console and hit refresh, you can see the device is now starting to reprovision and the device is no longer available for selection. Okay, so let's take a very brief look back at what we've looked at during this brief video. So we looked at the differences between Windows 365 Business and Enterprise. We looked at the purchasing of licenses and their different SKUs. There's also a link available for the different plans available in the description. We looked at the group creation for your license assignment and also a dynamic group for your devices. We looked at filter creation. We also looked at provisioning policies. We spoke a little bit about device configuration policies and the support for BitLocker not being available. And we also spoke about how we can access the Windows 365 machines from the Windows 365 preview app, the remote desktop clients, and also the web. And we finished off very nicely with the options available within Intune for restoring, reprovisioning, and also resizing your virtual machines. Thank you for sticking around until the end. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe for more content. to come from EUC365.